What is up, everybody? It's your boy Matsu, and today I have a sick deck profile. I am joined by...
I am totally not named Dan, so you can call me that if you want. I go by Dan Kayer on YouTube. Though, if you look me up, I do go by a different name in the standings for the UK National, the EU Nationals, which I came number 9th with this All Might Trueform deck.
Yeah, absolutely. I really wanted to get this deck some airtime because I think that this is a very unique thing that not a lot of people have put a lot of stock into or maybe not looked at. And yeah, so what's your philosophy on the deck?
So this was a deck that I first built before the game came out, really, because originally it wasn't clear how All Might Trueform worked, so I thought that if you stacked him with himself, he got double the abilities, and that just made the enhance insane.
Yeah.
That got ruled not to work shortly before the first set released, and so since then I've been sort of looking at him on the side, seeing if I could find another way to make it happen, and now that we can put 18 All Might's main deck, it kind of works.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, being able to play a lot of 6 checks to kind of confirm that you're going to be checking well on most of your cards is pretty sick. And then, all the 0 mid blocks help as well.
Oh, absolutely. The 0 mid blocks and the fact that you're at 27 health if you go second when your opponent starts attacking you means you survive to your attack turn pretty much every time, even against major aggro decks like Tokoyami.
Neat. Yeah, I really like that. How did you feel about your matchup into the meta, like Tokoyami and Kirishima and all that stuff?
So I didn't see a Kirishima, and even at locals and stuff since, I have not seen a Kirishima with this deck. I feel
Interesting.
like Kirishima can't block enough to deal with it, but I don't know for sure.
Okay. I mean, that is fair. You do put a lot of damage on your attacks, so the half
Yeah,
block
but
does a
also
lot less.
Yeah, but also it pumps out so many attacks in a turn. 6 in a turn is quite common, and with the price for peace in there, I have gone as far as like 10 plus.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I really like that. I do love Invisible Infiltration in this deck. Being able to reset your advice for winners and your destined for mainstreams and your celebrity status is pretty sick.
Yeah, the advice for winners and the destined for mainstream get the attacks off the top of the deck. They allow you to guarantee that you will get those 5 and 6 checks. Unless, of course, you hit the price for peace, but
Yeah,
I mean, you can always commit for that.
yeah, that is very true. So, do
Yeah.
you remember anything about your run? Kind of what you played against? Give me a little recap if you can.
So the first round was a Jiro, which it just meant sort of partial blocks here and there as required. Interestingly, I'm like with a lot of decks, they will assume that if they're at 5 or 6 speed, you're not blocking them. And that's just not how this deck works, because you can easily block a 5 or 6 if you check well.
Yeah, that is very true. With all the 0 mid blocks and the 6 checks, it's on a 5, on a 6. That's very easy if you just check a 6.
Yeah, so you just take little bits out of their damage here and there, and as long as you pick the right attacks, you make it through the turn, you backswing like crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, your backswings are very good when you're putting 3 damage on all of your attacks and looting for more gas, right?
Yeah, exactly. The lowest any attack is a 7, and that's if you haven't built anything before your Hardened Frenzy.
Gotcha. Yeah, I really like this deck. I think it's very interesting, very unique for sure. I don't think anyone saw this coming when they were pulling up to Nats for sure.
Oh no, absolutely not. And yeah, the 2 decks that followed that were both Tokoyami, and they just melt because they cannot block. They can block 2 or 3, fine. But then what about the other 3 plus attacks?
Yeah.
And it only takes 2.5 to get rid of their health bar.
Yeah, that is true. And like even with their -1 damage, you put so much damage on stuff that like if they
Yeah.
block 2 attacks and they can't block the rest of them, they just die anyways, even through the -1 damage.
I mean, if they block attacks, you throw out the Airstream driver and it's a 12, or
Yeah.
against them 11.
Yep. Yeah, I really love Airstream in this deck. Airstream is like, hey, you blocked my slow move, here comes a fast move that does half your health bar.
Exactly. And then the Hardened Frenzy kind of punishes the block as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is very true. So,
And
what was your hardest matchup, do you want to say?
so Hardest matchup in terms of most difficult to play against was definitely Mike Hardiman playing Momo and just looping blocks forever.
Oh yeah, that is definitely not the deck you want to see as like an aggro deck, because like they just like block everything and they don't really care about anything.
Oh, absolutely. But even then, it came down to the wire and he only just 2-1'd me.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
deck that I could not win against, interestingly, is Ochako 1.
Huh.
Yeah,
That-
you don't expect it at all, do you?
yeah, that's kind of interesting because like, I mean, I guess she has good defensive pieces and she is a pseudo seven-hander, but like, I mean, you do have her stuff. She does get to make one really fast thing a turn, usually, and that really fast thing is usually a home run comet that can kill you from almost full.
Yeah, but what it actually is, the problem here, is that she just throws out lots of attacks.
Yeah.
And so, because you can't fully block a high block very easily, 'cause you only got advice for winners and pull no punches to block that, you're partial blocking 5 damage attacks, and it's not really doing very much.
Oh yeah, that is very true. Yeah, that does seem like a rough matchup for sure. The more I
Yeah.
think about it.
But it's just weird, because that's not something I expected to see in the meta at all.
Yeah,
And-
she's always been kind of a sleeper past like the first set. Like people will play her, but like she doesn't really like top many events. So like people don't really expect her.
I believe that Ochako did actually make it into the top of this event, but yeah, I was not expecting that at all. And I've since been told what I should have done against that is sideboarded into Deku 1 and just named high constantly.
That's so funny. Yeah, just like side into a few high blocks and Deku 1 and just name high all the time.
Yeah,
That would be funny.
it would actually work as well, because this is built off good.
Yeah, yeah, and like you do have enough like punches to discard, and you have the full cowlings and stuff.
The full cowling's pretty much the only punch in this deck,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, I could slide 1 or 2 in. Maybe the what was it? It was 5% Detroit Smash in testing. What did it become in the end? Aspiring Punch?
Oh, yeah. I know what
Something
you're
completely
talking about.
forgettable that becomes a 10 speed.
Yeah, it gets really fast and does a lot of damage. But
Uh,
what would you change about this deck if you could go back, knowing what you know now, if anything?
I do think it needs a little bit more in the way of high blocks. The one attack I'm least sure on is the Hardened Frenzy, but honestly, the lineup is still fantastic.
Yeah.
Price for Peace, I was iffy on in most matchups, but against Mike, it was absolutely crucial.
Yeah, because you had to have those like 10 attack strings in order to
Yeah.
like deal damage, and the deadlock enhance gave you a little bit of pressure.
No, the deadlock never happened.
Okay.
I mean, maybe he saw it coming and worked around it, but
Yeah.
no matchup has that ever actually come into play.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm sure
This
he
deck
was
just
he
puts
was
so much
probably
pressure on.
playing around it because, you know, being able to search all of your Airstream drivers is pretty good.
Being able to search all of your Crow and Frogs is pretty good as well.
Yeah.
And the amount you cycle through your deck, though, you quite often see 3 of a card anyway.
Yeah, that is true. You do have ditch one, draw one on your face for +3 damage, basically.
Yeah.
So. Well, you know, thanks for the deck profile. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to kind of get this out to the people because I know a lot of people are very interested in what your deck did and what it was and how well you did with it. Like, congratulations, getting to even the top 16 as playing a very off-meta deck is a huge accomplishment in and of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a little sad that because of the number of intentional draws in top 8, it didn't quite get through on tiebreakers.
Yeah, that is definitely rough.
It was incredibly close, and we looked at it, and I had the best tiebreakers of anyone, having fought people like Mike.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dang. Well, thanks everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. Shout outs to Dan. Make sure you guys go check out his channel. I'll leave some links in the description so you guys can go watch him. Give him a like, comment, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And do the same for me. Go check out my Patreon. I'll also have links for that in the description, where I do coaching at $10 a month for 1 hour, where I can give you good deck advice and all that kind of stuff. Matsu signing out.
Hey yo, it's your boy Matsu. Call me Go Beyond because I've always got you. Call me Tam because I card well. Call me Jacob, but there ain't no John, son. Call me Mister because you know I alliterate. Me and the boys, you know we keep it on fun. So like, comment, share, subscribe because this rhyme is done.